Greetings, internet viewers. Oxleymations again with another video presentation for you all. So for today's video, it's something I've already done in the past, but it's a slightly different version of what I usually do. Basically, you know how I've gotten parcels in the past where I've bought puppets online? Well, for today's video, after I made a post on Facebook, a couple of people got in contact with me because they had puppets that, well, their family didn't want, so instead of just them taking these old playthings, these old ventriloquist dolls, just tossing them in the trash, they, out of the kindness of their heart, decided to, send them to me to rehome them to my personal abode. And as I was alluding to, one of those has arrived today. So contained within this box is another ventriloquial figure. And, well, we'll talk a little bit more about the little guy once I actually get him out of the box. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get our letter opener and start slicing up that tape. What I can tell you about the figure while I'm cutting the tape and figuring out how to open the box is this little fella is from the 1970s. And he is also 100% complete. He has his full original outfit, which is not something that's very common when it comes to getting figures the way I do. He also has, there we go, a little vinyl record that came with him about how to do ventriloquism. Then again, that was shown in the images that I was shown of the puppet. For all I know, remember, always cut away from yourself, folks. But for all I know, the person who sent him to me may have forgotten to include the record. I don't know, because obviously I haven't opened the box yet. Sorry for all the squeaking and stuff. This blade is not sharp. Which is a good thing, because I keep cutting towards myself like an idiot. Alright, that should be enough. So we put down the letter opener. This little fellow was a popular character during the 1970s. Let's see, did I open this the right way around? Surprisingly, I did. You can kind of see his little hat right here. But this is also the first of this type of figure that I've added to my collection. Because, as most of you have probably picked up on when you've seen the rest of my collection, not to put too big of a spotlight on it, but most of my characters that I've picked up are a certain skin tone. But this is the first one I've ever picked up that will add some, what's a good word for it? He'll add some diversity to the collection. And some of you might know who it is just from the coloring of the hat and the pattern of the fabric. I gotta be careful about this because, like I said, there is supposed to be a little vinyl record in here with him. And I'm not sure where the person who gave him to me would have put the record. Let's see, his face is facing that way. There's his glasses. Gently now, gently. Oh, there's the record. Ew, they just stuck it in here. They didn't put anything on it to protect it. Okay, hopefully it's not getting damaged by being just dragged across the cardboard. Gently now. Okay. The record has been extracted. Okay, good. It's only printed on one side. And they put the printed side towards the puppet. Alright, get your feet out of there. Alright, give me a moment, folks. I'm going to straighten up his outfit a little bit before I put him on screen. But like I was saying before, and then I stopped myself for no real good reason, This guy was very popular in the 1970s, and I believe the act started in the 1960s. If any of you have ever heard of Willie Tyler, that was the ventriloquist who used this figure back in the day, and somewhat surprisingly, Willie Tyler, I think he's still around today, actually has a YouTube channel. He hasn't posted anything in the last 3 years, I believe it said. But to know that he's at least was active on this platform is kind of an interesting thing, if I can get the words out of my mouth. Alright, so I'll just hold his glasses on as I hold him up. But the character in question, if you've guessed, even if you haven't guessed, is Lester. Willie Tyler's little buddy, Lester. And while this is the way he's supposed to look, but like I was alluding to, his glasses do not want to stay on his face. So now I understand why these things are always missing. Okay, it comes with his original outfit. He's got his corduroy vest, his white sleeves, he's got his hat, he's got his original shoes, which are still tagged onto his feet. Let me check the other one. Yep, just the same. His original pants, which now that I'm looking at it are probably on there backwards, because I don't think they would have put the tag on the crotch. Let's see. Yep, as I was expecting, the rubber band has perished, so his mouth is just kind of loosely flopping around. He's got rooted black hair. Yeah, this guy is in really good shape for his age. Give me just a moment, folks. I'm going to fix the pants situation, and be right back. Alright, so we got his pants sorted out, so now they're actually on there properly, and they actually look right. Keep slipping down. That might be the reason why the person who gave this to me had them on backwards, so they would fit better. Seems the elastic in the waistband has kind of worn itself out. Anyway, so as I was saying, Lester here is the first puppet to help culturally diversify my collection. And there's another interesting thing about our new little friend here. The Goldberger Doll Manufacturing Company, who produced this little guy, they made 2 different versions of him. There was one which is extremely rare, which he doesn't have rooted hair. He's got a molded crew cut kind of thing going on. With that puppet, that was the first version of Lester that they made. And this version, which simultaneously looks closer to the final character that Willie Tyler made, because originally that Lester that he uses, I'll go ahead and throw a couple pictures up on screen. This is what Lester looked like originally when Willie Tyler was, just starting out back in the 60s. And then right here is the puppet I'm referring to that is based more on that version of Lester than, this one. And then as time went on, to kind of make the character a bit more appealing, Willie Tyler changed Lester's look to look more like this. And as such, because he did that, obviously the Goldberger Doll Company had to change the look of the ventriloquist puppet, so they made him look like this. And in order to cut costs, they did something interesting. We'll use the word interesting. Because you see, Lester here, this doll head was used for another ventriloquist puppet. Any guesses for those who may not know right away? I'll give you a hint. Say, kids, what time is it? Howdy Doody time! They literally took Howdy Doody and molded him in a dark flesh color to make Lester. Because, look at that. That is, well, it's not 1-to-1 because this is a different head mold than the one being used more, in more recent times. But if you actually move around the hair a bit, you can see Howdy Doody's sideburns poking out on the side there. And if you pull the hair back, you can make out the swoosh in Howdy's hair. So yeah, for any of you who were not aware, Lester is the culturally diversified Howdy Doody. I mean, look at that. There is no way that's not the same doll head. I'm sure they did a couple of things to change the mold, because obviously Lester doesn't have this big jerry curl thing in the front of his head. Let me just double check feeling around up there. Yeah, they definitely shaved that down, but you can very clearly see the part in Howdy's hair poking out from underneath Lester's jerry curl right up here. So, yeah, if anyone was not aware of that, now you don't. Another thing I'm going to do here, before I close out the video, is I'm going to go right on ahead and I'm going to pop that little vinyl flexi disc record onto my record player, record it onto the laptop, and we're going to have a listen and see what Willie Tyler has to say about ventriloquism. So as you can see, here's the record. Because it's made of such a thin and, well, flimsy material, the record player cannot play it normally, so we're going to have to put something heavy on it, like my beading wire here. And then Lester, if you'd care to do the honors, go ahead and drop that needle on the record. Here we go, folks.
Hi, this is Willie Tyler.
And this is Lester.
We'd like to congratulate you on your new Lester doll.
And also, we'd like to give you a mini lesson on how to become a ventriloquist.
As you know, a ventriloquist is one who talks without moving the lips. Some parts of the world, a ventriloquist is called a belly speaker, or one who speaks from the stomach. Most important thing that you need is a mirror.
And you practice in front of the mirror about 15 minutes twice a day.
It's 15 minutes twice a day.
I said that.
And it would be better not to use your Lester doll right away. For the very simple reason, if you use the Lester doll, he tends to distract from you watching your lips and watching your progress.
In other words, I'm captivating.
Yeah, you have a sense of humor too. Anyway, while working on your ventriloquist voice, if your voice is low, then you make your ventriloquist voice higher. If your voice is high, then you make your ventriloquist voice lower.
That's so you can tell the difference in who's talking.
Now, when it comes down to pronouncing words, there are some words, when it comes to moving your lips or not moving your lips, it's very difficult. For example, M's, B's, P's. Now we're going to show you how to get by or around this. For example, instead of saying the boy went to the store, you say the T-H-O-Y. Thoy. Again, instead of saying the boy went to the store, and I'll let Lester say it.
The boy went to the store.
T-H-O-Y. Again, please.
The boy went to the store.
Also, M's are kind of difficult to say, too. Instead of saying the man went to the store, you would say Nan, N-A-N. Les?
The man went to the store.
Again, please.
The man went to the store.
Very well put. Now, to review. Don't forget now, when practicing in front of the mirror, 15 minutes twice a day, or not more than 30 twice a day, to start with, because you can strain your vocal cords.
And don't use your Lester right away. Just work on not moving your lips.
Don't forget the letter substitution. In other words, instead of saying, the boy went to the store, you say,
The boy, T-H, boy went to the store.
and instead of saying man, M-A-N, you would say
Man, N-A-N.
less. Sounding pretty good.
Thank you.
Now, I think we've covered just about everything in our mini lesson. Now, the rest is up to you. As the old saying goes, practice makes perfect. If you're determined to become a very good ventriloquist, we sure hope that you succeed.
That's not positive thinking.
Yes, it is. But again, we congratulate you, and we hope you enjoy your Lester, and take care.
And again, to reiterate, that's a heavy word for me. Congratulations!
Alright folks, so initially I wasn't going to record a repair on that Lester puppet. I was just going to kind of leave him as is. But I couldn't just leave him with his broken jaw, so I started working on him. And it's kind of a good thing I'm making this video right now, because I found out a couple of things about this puppet. So you see, when it comes to most of these ventriloquist puppets, their heads are zip tied on, and the zip ties are about this size, about 11 inches long and about like that thick. I'm not sure exactly the width of that, it's a couple of millimeters. Then again, I could be wrong on that. But between when I recorded the part with the record and now, my housemate and I went over to the hardware store because I was running low on zip ties. As a matter of fact, I got this big thing of zip ties right here months ago for this very problem, for this very reason. And well, very few of these, actually none of these, suit my purposes for my normal sized ventriloquist puppets because they're either too wide or too short. Regardless, so my housemate and I went out and got some things from the hardware store, some of them being these 11-inch to 2794 centimeter cable ties. And I was going to use those on Lester, obviously. But it turns out that no, I didn't show this off, I was thinking of something else. The one I was going to use and the one that came out of Lester are drastically different. Let me move these over here. See how thin the one that came out of Lester is? So what I wound up having to do for this, because all of the small zip ties like that I have are too short, I went ahead and had to do a technique that I heard of on the internet some time ago, years ago, where I'm going to be using two zip ties in tandem, one over here and one over here, to zip tie his head back on. Also, when it comes to these ventriloquist puppets, most of the ones that I've dealt with have had like a metal hook that would attach towards like the back of the neck stump here. Well, I can't say yes, I can say most, because I already did. What I'm getting at is, with most of the puppets that I've had to work with, the rubber band would hook on back here. But, for whatever reason with Lester, and I'm sure there's more puppets like him that are like this, the rubber band is supposed to attach to the back of the mouth, right up in there. I'm sure you won't be able to see it because my lighting sucks presently. Let me just adjust things. And you can just about see it. That tab right there, the rubber band was looped around that little tab up there that you just saw, and then that would be brought down out of the head, up through this little notch right there, and then just kind of stretched around this flange right here, and then the head would be popped onto the body, and then there would be a zip tie that would just kind of pull everything together. And well, with Lester here, as happens to most of these puppets, if not all of them, the rubber band kind of rotted away. Like, the best pieces of it are like right on the verge of just dry rotting. If I pull on this too hard, which I'm going to do for demonstrative purposes, it's just going to break like that. It just rotted out, dried out, rotted away. Those are the words I'm looking for in that order. And we're like glued around the neck stump, as you can see by all this weird powdery that's left behind. So I had to go in there, scrape all that out. And the reason why I wasn't going to record this portion of the video, I was just going to, show off Lester and be done with it, is because, well, I didn't think there was going to be this much of a to-do to put our little friend here back together. But obviously I was wrong. So what I'm planning on doing is replacing that old rubber band that was in there with a spring. So I'm going to be taking this spring, hooking it to the back of his jaw in there, and then there was this little nick right here, and I'm going to be taking the other end of the spring and just kind of trying to figure out a way to latch it onto that so that Lester will be able to be fully functional once again. Some of these puppets were made so cheaply they didn't put the little metal hook on the back of it for the rubber band or spring to attach to. And with Lester here, the way they put it, the way they fixed it, was so that the rubber band has to be directly below the jaw here. Because if you put the rubber band or whatever you're going to have in there on the back and have it pulling at an angle towards here, his mouth will hang open like this. So when you pull on it, the jaw will open, but it won't close all the way, and you'll be stuck with this kind of motion. To get him to have his mouth fully closed, you have to have that spring basically coming straight down. So, I guess this particular video has become another Dummy Diaries. Yay! I wasn't expecting to do another Dummy Diaries video so soon, but here we are. And I made one mistake so far in that to get the spring on there, I thought I had to take the pull string all the way out of his mouth. I didn't have to do that, but I did it. And it's going to be a pain in the foot trying to get it back in. So before I go trying to get the spring in there, I'm going to try and reattach the mouth string. No, that's going a little too high to try and get that in. Come on, I think I'm getting it. Come on, that's it. Yes. Where's my long needle nose pliers? Aha! Didn't take me nearly as long as I was expecting it would. Okay. So now that we've got that restrung, I'm going to get it back through the little itty bitty hole in the back of his neck here where it's supposed to come out. Hopefully I can get that lucky twice in a row. And I can. Even faster the second time. I have developed a technique that I'm sure I'm going to forget by the next time I need to repair one of these little fellas. Okay, so now on to the spring. By the way, for anyone wondering, I'm just using old pen springs for these puppets. It's what I've been doing since I started repairing them. The main thing I've got to do is, first I got to get the spring back out. Is it stuck up? Yeah, it's stuck up inside there in the hairs. And this is fun. Got it. Had it. Now I flung it farther up inside the head. There we go. There we go. Sorry, Lester. Sorry. Alright, so I'm going to put that right over here so I don't lose it for a second time. And now I'm going to use my wire cutters to try and make a deeper impression in that little groove that's already in his head, so that the spring will have something to, well, to hook onto. That should be a deep enough gouge now that I should be able to get the spring to hook onto it. Okay, I think I've got it. Okay. Now watch. I have a feeling I'm going to pull that string, and that spring is going to shoot right back up inside his head. Let's try it. Hey. I'll be dipped. It's actually working. Ta-da! So now that the spring has been put back in place, and hopefully it'll stay that way, the one thing I'm worried about is, like, if I go to turn the head while it's still attached to the body, that it's going to rub against the cardboard disc in there that keeps the all the stuffing material from coming out through the mouth. That's going to cause the spring to just kind of either erode or just like slip out of place and ping and slide up inside the head, and I'll have to do this all over again. But time will tell if that's actually going to be a thing that happens or if it's not going to be a thing that happens. So, yeah. Again, still here on camera. Let's go ahead and reattach his head to his body. Before I do the full thing, though, before I fully attach it is what I intended to say there. Let's go ahead and see if I've got anything to worry about. The whole spring popping out of place thing, like I said I was worried about. You think I've got something to worry about there, Lester? Okay, I hope you're right. So we're actually going to pop his head back off just for a moment so I can fluff up the material inside just a bit. It seems to have settled quite substantially over the last 50 odd years. Alright. Now Lester, let's get your head placed back on. Tighten this side down. And then we'll tighten that side down. There we go. Lester's head is now firmly reattached to his little body. Thanks, dude. No problem, Lester. Alright, now let's deal with those unsightly little tags poking out the sides of your neck. So for these, obviously, you're going to want a pair of wire cutters, or scissors could work. And just snip. And remember, another thing that should be kept in mind when you're making a repair like this, you want the zip ties to be tight enough to hold the head on, but not so tight that the head cannot move easily. Truth be told, I tightened these down just a slight little bit too much, but as long as the head is still mobile, then that's what counts. Alright, now we snip off the other one. Okay. And we straighten out his felt vest. And we pull it up around him. We button the little buttons to keep everything in place. For those at home who don't have a Lester, the way these original ones from the 70s were set up were a couple of little metal snaps on the back to hold his shirt on. And I think when it comes to the little situation with his pants falling down, I'm going to get a safety pin and just pin those in place. So, one moment, folks. Got the pin. Let's pin up his pants. This is actually how doll manufacturers back in the day used to do this as well. They would just safety pin the pants onto the doll. Go. Those trousers are not coming down again anytime soon. Not that they're going to need to. Ta-da! Alright, so let's straighten out the rest of Lester's outfit here, get his hat and glasses back on, and we'll wrap this thing up. I figured I would show you guys one more thing when it comes to getting this guy put back. You know, getting him all set up and put back together. The hat has a little bit of that elastic in the back of it, so that one's fairly easy. You just kind of slide it on from the back of his afro or his hair or whatever you'd like to call it. It just sticks in place pretty well. When it comes to the glasses, these things, because they're so warped and so awkward, the way I was able to get these to stay on before I decided to, finish fixing the mouth for this video, what I was doing is I would bring them up here over behind the ears, and I would hook this looped bit right here actually into the hair to help hold it in place. Because otherwise, if you do that, then it's just going to spring right back out and fall off of his head. Give me one moment to do this off camera. See, there we go. One original 1970s Lester, also known as Willie Tyler's Lester. No fooling? No fooling. Thought it was yours. Well, you are now, because someone was very nice and sent you to me. Well, that was very nice of them. It was very nice of them. It's also very nice of you to fix my mouth. Not a problem, little fella. So what you gonna do now? I don't know. Wait around till you want to make me talk again? Sounds about right, unfortunately. As a lot of my puppets, if they could actually speak for themselves, could vouch, I don't do this very often. No, he really doesn't. How do you know that? Well, off camera, I've been talking with the others. You have? Yeah. Anything nice to say? Did they have anything nice to say about me? Some of them did. Like Tiwi out there, he had a couple nice things to say. Like the fact that you fixed his string in his neck. He was happy about that, and the fact that you cleaned up his outfit. Well, I'm glad to hear that at least some of them are happy with me. Others, the ones that are still in pieces, they're not so happy with you. Well, I can understand that. Because, I mean, you probably weren't too impressed with me when I had your whole head detached and all that. Honestly, I was confused. Why's that? Because, well, I don't know, I was just confused. I lost my head. Thankfully, you didn't literally lose your head. True. So, before this gets any more awkward, shall we, let's wrap this up. Alright. So on behalf of myself, my new little buddy Lester, and all the other puppets that I'm going to be working on in this little series here, we just want to say thank you all so very much for watching. We do truly appreciate it. And we hope that we will see you all in the next episode. And also, if you like the content that you've seen here today, you know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe. Hit the little bell icon to be notified of future uploads. Once you are subscribed, you'll be glad you did. And also, if you feel so inclined, and if you can afford it, go ahead and become a channel patron at patreon.com/Oxleymations. Link will be in the description down below. How did you know all that? You're the one pulling my string, bucko. That's how I knew. Well, just in case you couldn't understand him because of his little speech impediment, Oxleymations, patreon.com/Oxleymations. Link will be in the description down below. I already said that. Well, I know you said that, but they might not have understood what you were saying. One more minor little thing that I wanted to share with y'all before I officially wrap this up is, you know just how thin that little record is that I was playing for y'all earlier in this video is? Take a gander at this, why don't you? It is so thin, you can literally see my fingers right through it from behind a light. It's like literally basically about the sheet of paper thin. But I just thought that was kind of neat, so I thought I'd share that with you. Anyway, later y'all.